We're live, Pierre. A little late, but it's my fault.
Hockey Nation fans, welcome back to the early edition of the Hockey Nation Live Show with your co-host, called Frenchy directly from South Florida. You have to go all the way to the West Coast to find a co-host, Michael Devellano.
Hi, Pierre. Good morning. We have a lot of stuff we were discussing before and got run over a little. So,
Yep, a lot of stuff's going on. I'm just finishing another post, and yep.
So crazy. Good morning to Adam, who was here very early, and Brian's joined us. I noticed Michael Rosenblatt is here this morning. So far, those three for sure.
That's good.
Yeah. So we've got a lot of stuff to touch on, so we'll try to speed through without too much craziness because we want to get to the expansion draft discussion. The first one is Jeff Skinner becomes another player. We saw Eric Johnson waiving his no movement clause to be exposed. And I think we've seen a couple others, but Jeff Skinner got a crazy contract, $9 million, unlikely to be picked up. So they expose him to Seattle in the expansion draft. Are you surprised at this?
No, he's not the only one. Like Lucic and then Eric Johnson did the same thing this morning. So about yesterday, a couple of days ago, whatever they are. So it's spot what's going on. They try to helping the team, everything like that. So I think that's normal.
Oh, and Javier's joined us too this morning. So good morning, Javier. We always want to acknowledge him. And Brian says hello, Coach and Michael, from everyone, me and Minnie. Joseph, good morning, Joseph. Thanks for joining us. So we've got lots going on to talk about. So I think the benefit of this to Buffalo is that they can obviously protect two guys that come to mind are Anders Bjork, who came over in the Taylor Hall trade, and he played pretty well in a line with Tage Thompson and Casey Middlestad. So I think that's good. And then they could also protect Rasmus Asplund, who looked like he's a legit number 3 centerman. So I think that helps them. I think it's really unlikely he moves. This contract's kind of a whale, right? So I'd be shocked if Seattle picked this up.
Yeah, behind this is the only thing those players who did all this is just give a chance for the team to select an extra player on the expansion draft, so they're going to lose whatever they pick for the extra. So that's the reason most of he does it. Yeah,
I think it's a positive move, and I think there's very little likelihood that they lose him if that's what they're concerned about. Other news that came out yesterday was around the injury situation with Shea Weber, and it's to the point where they don't know if he'll play the full season. So do you think that they'll expose him in the expansion draft with this news coming out?
Yeah, definitely. That's the reason they mentioned this yesterday. After he visited a doctor, possible he'll be out for the rest of next season. So that will expand now. It was going to be 4 versus 4 for Montreal Canadiens. Now they're going to go 7-3-1. So that maybe gave a chance. We'll see which one they're looking for, but that's the strategist for sure for the upcoming expansion draft for the Montreal Canadiens. And we don't know. Maybe he's going to be retired after that. He will maybe never come back. And the biggest. The team is losing the most is Nashville.
Is that because what do you mean they knew? Because they're retaining salary or what?
Yes. So if he was leaving the NHL because of an injury, Nashville have to pay $4.9 million salary cap for the next 5 years.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's wacky.
And Montreal pay only $500,000 or $700,000 per year.
What? How did they work that out? Is that standard?
So the key behind this, they hope they will do is to be sure they put him on the long-term injury list. So that's helping Nashville for 1 year. And then Montreal don't really care at that moment. But the good news is after that, next year, this year is his last year, he pays $6 million. After that, it's only $1 or $2 million, $1.5 million per year. So on the salary cap, that helping Montreal for sure.
Wow, that's so crazy. So I'm trying to understand. Did Nashville retain in the swap with him and PK?
He did not retain, but if ever he was leaving for an injury before the end of his career, they have to pay the balance, the rest of the money about that one over there.
Wow. wow, what a silly deal. Good morning, NHL Hockey News Reports. We appreciate you joining us this morning. And then Brad Marchand's son is here. 7.8 save, meaning 22 million, but I'm sad he won't be playing. So I'm not sure what that referring to, but
he said he saved 7 because his
because of
salary
Shea
per
Weber.
year.
Got it. That makes sense. I might have missed some other comments at the beginning, so I'll just make sure that I didn't do that. All right, so other news was that Stamkos was not asked to waive his no movement clause. There was some speculation that might happen, but now they'll protect him. Obviously, it means another really good player will be exposed, and probably a cheaper one.
Not really, because now he have to be on the list, so he's going to cut one spot to someone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I said exactly that.
I know you said you're going to save a cheaper one, so I don't know.
No, I'm saying they have to expose a cheaper player. That would be good. So normally he's going to take the spot, like you said, of someone else. Right? If they waived this no movement, they would be able to expose him and protect another player. That's what I meant.
Now he have to protect him.
Right. Yeah. So interesting. We'll go through today who we think that they'll expose and who we would pick. Stamkos wasn't amazing in the playoffs. It's weird. He wasn't really amazing in the playoffs, was he?
He did very well the first 2 rounds. He has like 9 goals, 17 points, I believe, or 18 points or 19 points, whatever it was. But most of his point was on power play. So he didn't have a great impact for the last 2 rounds of the, again, Islanders, whatever, one game. But again, Montreal, maybe the first goal. His goal was the first game on power play, 5-1 at the end of the game. But overall, we didn't see him very well against Montreal for sure. But, if you need to have those goals and power play, he did it. But he was not a big factor during the finals. The Stanley Cup.
Yep. Good morning to Chainsaw Man. Was he hurt during the regular season? I don't think he was.
Yes.
Was he?
He left. He left he played about 38 to 43 games.
Oh, you're right. He played 38 games, so he was hurt in the regular season. And we know last year was he was hurt for pretty much the whole playoffs. He only played 57 games the year before, so interesting. Thanks, Brian. We're proud of it too. We really appreciate when people join us, and we love your comments. Good morning to Kimberly, who says good morning to everyone else. And I think the comment also was from Brad Marchand's son that he could be the Kucherov of this year, but he kind of went through this the prior season, so it'll be interesting to see. I think he was referring probably to Shea Weber, though.
Yeah,
because and I think that's what's on everybody's mind now, because the Shea Weber sit and then suddenly he comes back in time. But I'm not sure if Montreal, even with Shea Weber, is going to have an easy time getting the playoffs. And even if they don't have them, I think it definitely hurts them and their chances.
He played an amazing, great playoff, right? So he's a big, he played with injuries for the last 3-4 years, and nobody understand why he was crying on the ice at the end of the game. Nobody was down. A lot of people was questionable. They was questioning why he cried, and now we can understand, because maybe he knew that'll be maybe the end of this for the maybe 1 year, 2 years, or maybe ever.
Maybe. I mean, it's horrible to lose the Stanley Cup. To get
but sometimes you don't have those kind of the expression on the ice, right? You see more in the locker room, something like that, or you get up, but the way and the fact, everybody was going around him, it was a little bit different, like usually you do on the ice normally. So for me, that's what I can remember the most for that situation from him on the ice.
I'm going to remove the comment because it's blocking your face, but Chainsaw Man says, do you think it's a bluff so that they can expose him and not pick him up?
So again?
Chainsaw Man was asking, do you guys think that the Weber injury is going to be out most of the season, or is it just a bluff so he doesn't get picked up by the Kraken?
Not at all.
I don't think it's a bluff because they have the NHLPA in and they're going to do tests and like they're going to
right now. Yesterday the NHLPA, the lawyer of the Nashville, Montreal, and also the NHL are all over that because the contract situation and whatsoever happening. The answer is not going to happening before Friday, so they're going to expose them to the Seattle Kraken. But yep,
definitely crazy. All right. Brandon Carlo got a new contract, $4 million a year. I didn't see the term. How long was he signed for?
6 year, $4.1 million.
Wow. You know, this is I mean, first of all, without him, you can notice how good he is because they really missed him. But he was injured a lot. So he's young, but he's had some problems with injuries.
Yeah. It's a great signature for Boston.
If he's out.
It's a third or fourth second pair of defensemen. He is really great on the defensive side. He's big guys. You know, I mean, he's not going to score 20 goals or 15 goals, but the way he play, the way he bring, and he's a 6'5" guy, so it's pretty good. And to get a guy like him at $4 million, that's another way what Boston doing very well. That's a cheap price if you turn that. And his contract, I believe, is going to make a big impact for the UFA for the upcoming season. I think that will change the way the players, how the team pay the players, the way they pay the money they make to them, if you turn that. So it'll be really interesting, that impact of that contract for the rest of what's coming for the next couple of weeks. A lot of people are going to refer to that contract for the defenseman example, if you turn that. Maybe. So that show right now the team pay attention. They don't give 8 years anymore. They don't give a lot of money. It's $4 million. It's cheap for the kind of plus years. Really, usually $6 million, $5 million more. But the way he have $4 million, that's a great deal for the Boston Bruins.
I mean, the thing about him is, first of all, he has had some injury problems the last 2 years. The second part, I mean, we know this was a result of the Tom Wilson incident that his injury was. So maybe it's not, injury prone thing. It was just like a bad situation. He doesn't get a lot of points. Like, I think his best season was maybe 19 points. However, he's excellent defensively. He can skate. He's big. He's 24. He's got lots of experience. So I think it's probably a really good contract. It's pretty safe. If he's healthy,
you remind me a little bit what Ben Sharia does for the Montreal Canadiens.
That's a good comparison. I like
where
that.
He can score 3, 4, 5 goals, right? He can carry on the puck at some point. He can jump in on the rush, but he's more like the defensive guy where he's very physical. It's not easy to go around when he's battle in the corner. So for me, that's what I can compare. He's not going to be a defense number 1, number 2. You have the size of Donald Nurse. You have a size of Aaron Ekblad, but you don't have the sense of the hockey skill of on offensive. That's the reason he got that contract. But I think it's great for have him shaker for the second pair of the defenseman.
Yeah, that makes total sense. All right. We saw this that, contract talks with Captain Gabriel Landeskog kind of hit an impasse, and he, the word is that he's upset with whatever their offer is. I haven't seen what the specific offer is. Have you seen anything?
Yes, it's $5 million for 5 years.
Okay, so I can see why he would be upset with that, because legitimately I think $6 million is kind of his better range. The guy's a consistent 20 goal scorer. He's the captain of the team. I realize he's not like a fancy player, but he's almost appointed, like he's like a 55, 60 point player. And that typically is like a $6 million player.
That's a new direction of all the people. They don't give $8 million. Everybody at UFA right now, they are the bad time in their life because they don't give a lot of contract. I don't see anyone's going to get a lot of 8 years or 7 years. They're going to be low. But again, he's 29 years old. At the end of 5, 6 years, going to be 35. So he's going to be at the end, he's going to be at 33, 34, something like that. So he's not going to produce.
I didn't realize he's that old now.
So I think for me, 5 years is really that's what they do. That's what now five
Because he'll
five
be
5.5
34.
is low.
Yeah.
Can he get 6.5?
He gets
Possible
6.
somewhere else, right? I think for him the best direction for me will be St. Louis Blues.
Or just sign 2 years. Try to
So,
keep the band together and try to win with Colorado and then go UFA. But then he's 31, so it's a little tougher.
Yep.
But he might be able to say, like, give me 2 years, 6 and 6. I mean, I don't know. You would think that the back end of that would be lower salary and the front end would higher. That might be part of the solution, but it'll be interesting to see. Bergevin is making and taking a lot of calls these days. Johnny, welcome. Thank you for joining us. I'm not sure what do you think there's going to be a lot of movement with the Montreal Canadiens?
Yeah, because now you're losing a defenseman. You're going to losing. So he's getting maybe like $20 million to spend now. Doug Hamilton is going to be under target for sure. They're going to targeting another big UFA forward for sure. So he's going to be busy for sure. See what happened. Imagine if Jonathan Drouin is leaving, that team's getting now $20 to $25 million to spend. That changed completely the way they was thinking to go there. If you get Hamilton compared to Weber, is a little bit a winner for the team about the ages every time that they will have to get another defenseman on the right defenseman too at the same time. So busy for everybody and everything like that. And everybody's calling Ron Francis to ask him, hey, this is my list example. Who do you get? I think he tried the first he would try to do for me. He would try to protect Jake Allen.
Yeah. Really?
So I think so too. I think he will try to keep him in Montreal. So he'll maybe negotiate with Francis something. He have a lot of picks. So let me give him a 2nd round pick or a 3rd round pick. I would not be surprised to be sure he keep Jake Allen. He can get someone else. Interesting.
Maybe. All right. So some other important news you mentioned this morning. Keith Yandel, got bought out. He has the Ironman streak going for a long time. Not the perfect defenseman, but obviously had some longevity. Was well liked by fans. There's good comments in here about what a nice person he was. But I think this is about time. I think it's like the right thing to do at this point, right? I don't know what you think, but
they save a couple of $1 million. Now he's buyout. Now he's under 4 years, so they're going to get like $2 million this year. Next year they get $4 million on the salary cap AAV. After that, it's not too bad. So that's the situation. Still have 2 more years to go at $6 million, so they have to get $12 million. They save 2 tiers of the contract, so that's the reason they have to pay him for the next 4 years at that amount. This year's not too bad, AAV $2 million, but next year they're going to suffer a little bit about that. But again, that opened up for them to have more money, and they turn around and they sign right away at $8 million, 3 year, really great steal there for Slink at 2.66 on AAV. So he's right away. Bill Zito did right away there, and he has a little bit more money to spend on maybe Sam Bennett, or I'll be the next one to see about that one. And now to open up Yandel, Michael, because he was an NMC, he has to now open up a spot, and he has Forsling with Aaron and Wigard as a 3 there, and he will expose Goodus and Nitzivera, and where it is what it is, and that will give them saving money with Stroudman also. So it will be interesting what they're going to do. But I think Seattle is going to pick up Veterano at some point, or maybe somewhere else.
Yeah, I think it definitely is the right time. Do you think Yandel catches on with another team next year?
Who?
Do you think Keith Yandel will re-sign with somebody next year?
I'm sorry, you.
Do you think that Keith Yandel plays in the NHL next year?
Yeah, definitely. He will find a place to go. He still have a left wing. He's going to sign what, 1 million, 1.5. So he's going to get, like anybody else, he's going to get a place to play at least. You have a 20-minute per game, play 56 game. He got scratched on the playoff, but he's not going to helping you a lot on the playoff. He remind me right now, he looked like exactly what Eric Gustafsson did for the Montreal Canadiens on power play, and that's what he does. So if you want to have a specific player on the road, that's what he does, but don't expect anything else, unfortunately.
Welcome, Eagle Fang, and he has a comment that he says the cap hit the Wild are going to take after the season is over next year is nuts. I don't think that's true. I think that you think so?
Yeah, because now they're going to have about what, $17 million or $9 million of the contract of Sutter and Parisi.
Like removed or
no, add.
I'm not quite understanding that.
So the buyout of this contract is for 5 years for each one of them. The first year, this year, is really low. And the year number 2, 3, 4 is very high on the dead money AAV.
Isn't it like 4 million or something? Or
yeah, but for each one.
Oh, each.
Yeah.
So it's 2 and then 4 each.
So it would be like $7-8 million.
But it's like, so I guess it's still better than 15, but it's still a lot. And they save a lot of money, right? Like they only
they save money, but they don't help the team.
Well, they definitely help
this year.
Yeah, it definitely gives them some flexibility, but I guess it's still probably better than keeping them.
But the key behind that is they're helping them for the expansion draft. So they protect against Dumba, and they don't have to expose him for sure about that one over there.
Wow, I want to check those numbers. That's crazy. All right.
So next season, Michael, done this year, but and 22-23, $12 million, $14 million, $14 million, AAV dead cap.
How does that make sense?
Because each one of them are $6 million, and after that, $7 million. That's the penalty because he still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years to go with the contract.
I don't know if that's. I'm trying to understand how that's right. Is that because of their age? Because normally the formula is 75%.
Because they get like more old you are, more money you get. So they have to pay 2 year of the contract.
Wow, that's crazy. That looks rough. All right, I'm just going back to this. So, whoops. What happened there? There we go. Sorry about that. So you were mentioning about the funeral this morning of Matthias Kivlenieks, and there was a story that you said that the other goalie, Elvis Meslurkins, was saying that Matthias saved him and his family from that firework.
Yeah, it was live at 10 o'clock this morning, and great. People show up talking about this, and he mentioned the goaltender Elvis
Meslurkins.
Yeah. So he mentioned he was just behind him during that moment, that night, and for some reason he jumped or whatever he did, and then if not, he believed his wife, his kid, because she's pregnant, and him will be dead.
Oh wow! Because he got hit in the chest with a firework, right?
Yeah.
So that was the blunt force that killed him, like they say.
Yeah.
Wow, really sad story. That's so
great. Everybody on social media talk about this on everything like that. So really sad moment, and it's rare you think about this at that age, playing a sport and it shows someone happening like that, and you have funeral. You know what I mean? Like you see this for older players, right?
Yeah.
And at that age, it's really different about that one over there. So really interesting to see that.
So sad.
Yep.
Well, our thoughts go out to them. That's so crazy. Ms. Lurkins admits that Matthias saved him, his wife, and the baby they're expecting. They were 20, 30 feet behind him. So crazy. Wow, that's so nuts. All right, another signature we saw yesterday. I was a little surprised at the number, but maybe I just don't watch this player enough. Was Teddy Bluger from the Pittsburgh Penguins. They've had a history where they have guys like this that are kind of like third line guys. They get like 11, 12 goals, and then they tie them up, but they're really useful because they're quick and they do other things. But I haven't seen him enough. Do you think there's upside with Teddy, or is it just that he's a He fits.
It's from Riga and in Latvia, and he play most of
Really?
his time on the four line. He's not young. He's a 26, 27 years old,
Yeah.
and he bring like what he on the four line. He bring a lot on the he play 14 minutes per game. If you tell that, have a good year. But he's a one plus. He get developed late. Like
Yeah.
he have to go from the bottom to the bottom. He show up and then he got his time. He still play 93 game in NHL, something like that. But
140.
yeah, so he took time for him to show up there, and then is the bottom six. He do have a specific role, but he's a guy. Sometimes he can score because he have skill, but he cannot be perfect like all the time. That kind of player. So he's a bottom 1-6 there, and and the contract he got
2 years, 2.2.
2 and 2.4, something like that.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, so that's good for him. You show a couple of, and I mean the 22, yeah, 54.140 is like it's what 66. It's about 33%, maybe 40%. So he can do some point, but it's really
he had okay year.
His speed and the way he play face off, everything like that is pretty good. So and again, he's not young, 26. So he as this first year was a RFA, second year was a UFA. So a good deal for him, a good for Pittsburgh to get him that guy over there. So
yeah, I guess if you think, hey, this guy's just going to get better and bigger role. He had 9 goals last year, 7 this year in 43 games. So maybe that ends up being 11, 12 goals. And
yeah,
he does a lot of other things, and it's not that long of a deal. It's only 2 years, I guess.
He was going to jump like a 30 point, I believe. He can score 10 to 12, 14, 13 goals. So it's good to see that. And, and he's good again, the defensive side. So I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. So the other story that was out yesterday, and the more we learn about him, he's a different cat. Patrick Laine was, I guess, in Finland. You were mentioning this yesterday, that he was very vocal in criticizing the system of John Tortorella. So I don't know, but I mean, obviously Tortorella's out, so I don't know why we're still talking about it. But he needs to be signed, right? Like, is he restricted free agent?
Yeah, he's a RFA. He's going to have 7.5, I think 7.2. So he's going to get $8 million next year. So would be interesting to follow up with him.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. That's the biggest problem, because I mean, he's probably a little overpaid, right? Unless he's back to his 30, 40 goal self. But
yeah, of course, only 10 goals this year is overrated for sure. He didn't have a good year. Can he get there? Maybe possible. Can he be in Columbus? I don't think so. It's really some players create their own damage, or they create their own bad behavior, like not behavior, but the way they talk, everything like that. It reminds me a little bit like a lot of people at a young age. Barry Bonds in baseball, he was not really happy. People was complaining about him, everything like that, and he was not great about talking on the media, everything like that. So he's a kind of player where he's really maybe selfish, or the guy don't really care, or he just like it's not his way, but he just gave up. But those behavior like this would catch up with him at some point.
I don't know the style of Brad Larson, so I don't know if this will be a better fit. I got to think he's less antagonistic than Torts. Torts is a different guy.
But the story about Brad Larson, the reason he got benched was because of Brad Larson. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he said something wrong to Brad Larson, and then Tortorella jumped on Laine, and after that, but it was
wow.
It was between him and Larson about that. But Larson at the press conference, he just let it go, said this is behind us, and we have to move on forward about that. Columbia have a lot of big decision to do. Max Domi is on the shoulder surgery, missing a couple of weeks and months. They have to figure out with Zed Jones, where I believe he's going to be in Chicago. So they have a lot of decision to go about that one over there. They have 3 picks in the first round. The expansion draft for them, who they would protect, everything like that. and see what they are looking for, and they maybe trade one of the two goaltender to get a little bit better. But the way they need a center, because they don't have that kind of line to to helping what they have on. I think they have a couple of good, and then those players like DC have a bad year. I mean, they did not perform every time that, but we'll see what's next for them.
Michael Rosenblatt asked, do you think that Coleman will go to the Canucks? I think Coleman might have a lot of demand.
Coleman will be interesting to see what is path, to be honest with you. I see him more at Edmonton, but I
would love him in Edmonton. That would make a lot of sense.
I think Edmonton will be one they were looking for. How the money will be another point about that. It's Coleman want to get in Canada, but we'd be interesting about where they can reach that kind of that's what they need. My second destination for him, and I would be surprised everybody, but I think he could fit with Islanders. And I think he will fit with the system of Barry Trotz.
He would. I think he would fit in a lot of places, Pierre. He's underrated. Like, he can get 18 to 24 goals, and he has never even made $2 million. So, like, he's a guy that should be $4 million if you look at his numbers, but he's not. He's just nobody looks at him and goes, hey, this guy's my second line or first line guy. He's kind of doing it from the first or like the second or the third line.
Well, so when he was with the Devils, right? He was a top 6 over there, right?
Yeah.
And then he got traded after that for the first round pick. So the skill is there. He's the guy can play, can score. Edmonton, he will be maybe top 6. Maybe Edmonton, what they're looking at, a guy like that, he can play a second line, third line, and then he can pay for him $4 million, something like that. I think that'll be good for him. So we'd be really interesting about. He will be in demand a lot. On the UFA for sure. But I think the first one they're going to go from there would be Lester Gag, and then from that part, Ovechkin, and then Hamilton, and the rest of the other players there. But would it be really, really interesting what Coleman is going to go?
Yeah, Adam has speculated that he thinks there's something big going on with Vegas. Like, will they go after Jack Eichel? Will they go after Seth Jones? It'll be interesting to see. Michael Rosenblatt says Seth Jones to the Kings.
It could happen right there, but I think Los Angeles is looking more for a forward. They're looking more like a center. If Jack and Gold go, I believe Jack and Gold can be really well in Los Angeles.
I don't think they need a centerman. They need a winger, don't they?
But they have Kopitar over there for sure.
And then they got Velarde, and then they got Byfuglien.
They talk about, if I can recall it yesterday, talk about this on the NHL about where maybe Hackle go there. The problem Buffalo, they cannot trade him in Rangers in the same division.
Yeah.
Right? They cannot trade in Boston because, again, so they try to get more in the West to get away Hagel, every time that. So it would be really interesting where again, could be a great, or it could be another way, very bad.
Eagle Fang says, what country has the best talent in the world when it comes to hockey? I mean, overall depth, for sure, Canada. There's very high-end players coming from the U.S. and other countries. Like, we see very talented players out of Sweden and Russia. Even like smaller countries, we're starting to see players come out of. But, I mean, those are...
Well, here's the works, Eagle. In 9 days, 7 days, right? It was really only Canada, and in 90%. Then you get the series Russia and Canada, and then you expose those great hockey players in Russia with nobody knew about that. Then after that, you follow for the USA jumping 90-80s on the Olympics, winning. So the Olympics set up, bring hockey better and better. After that, you get the explosion of Sweden players came after that in NHL, get there. And then now it's all about Finland is jumping, reaching, and maybe past the Sweden. The next country is very close. Now it's Germany. Germany is better hockey player every time that. So the evolution, every time I mention a country, it's going lower for Canada at the same time, and about job every time that. So you get less hockey player from Canada player more from other countries, and that's what become. Not said Canada does not good players. It's just
No,
you don't get the percentage of playing in Canada diminish every year because the other country bring players inside the NHL.
I think what we look at it in the NHL is the top of the top, right? So you've got, and then it's like guys play for 10, 12 years. So you're not going to supplant them. Canada has about 700,000 people that play hockey every year. The United States now also has about 700,000. The next biggest country would be Russia. And Russia, I think if you look at the stats, is about 120,000. What's interesting about the other countries, like everyone from Sweden to Finland to Germany, is they're all very much under that. They have 20, 30,000 each country, but they're producing very high-end talent, and they have very good development programs. And Germany kind of lumps into that. So the elite of the elite are obviously going to play in the NHL, and that's what we see. The volume of talent and the number of really talented players in Canada for sure is still the top. The USA has done a great job with the US development program and trying to grow minor hockey and trying to keep adults playing hockey. So the depth of talent's probably not there. You don't see the ability for guys to play junior in a significant way at a young age. So we can see that. But the top guys, like you look at the USA guys that are coming out, like it's crazy. Look at the guys.
It's like Canada at the time it was 80, now maybe 40%, right? And the USA now is getting better, more players. So every country bring more players inside the NHL. That's drop the percentage of the player Canada lower.
Yep. Good question, Eagle. I love watching the New Zealand Ice Blacks. They actually do the haka on. I've seen that actually, the haka, when they do the haka thing. Well, we like to see the game grow. We want to see different people play it and in different places. I mean, men, women, people in small countries, big countries, that's how the game grows, like we want more participation. 4 Michigan players are projecting the top 10, yes, but when we say Michigan players, of those, one of them's American, one of them's American, really. One of them's
it's 2 and 2.
Sort of. Because Luke Hughes grew up in Toronto. His dad worked for the Maple Leafs. His brothers grew up in Toronto. They all played for the Toronto Marlies. They're dual citizens. So, yes, they're American, but they developed in Canada. I mean, that's absolutely the reality of that. So then they left and went to U.S. development program, but they were already a very high-level players at that point. So I think it's tough to say, hey, they developed in the U.S. because I don't really believe that's what happened with those guys. Kent Johnson's Canadian, Owen Powers from Toronto area in Mississauga, and then obviously Benners is a U.S. player. So I mean, technically there's 2 and 2, but anyway, just development. I'm going to harp on that with the Hughes brothers all the time. All right, Pierre, let's take a look at the expansion draft. We've done a lot of.
Hyman just got. Hyman's going to have now a negotiation. He can talk with any team right now. He's just got the okay from Toronto to open up about that one over there, and then did not give the same permission to Frederick Anderson. It's another news. And then McLeod just signed a contract with the New Jersey Devils a few minutes ago. A 2 years contract at $775,000 AAV, 1.950
I don't mind him. He played in the OHL. He's a big guy. I kind of like him. It's kind of a prove me contract. Like he gets $975 for 2 years. I guess it's a one-way contract, which is probably what he wanted.
Yeah.
He's now played 85 games. He had 9 goals in 52 games last year. He's a big guy. I think he can be a good player. So I think he'll just get better. He's not super creative, but do they show off the Kraken jerseys yet? Yeah, we've seen the Kraken jerseys. They're pretty cool. All right, so today we're going to take a quick look at Tampa, St. Louis, San Jose, and Pittsburgh. We're going to speculate who is available and who we would pick. The toughest one, maybe we do it first, which would be the Tampa Bay Lightning. This is kind of a crazy lineup, right? Because we know, they have so much depth of talent that you're bound to get a good player here, Pierre. The question is, who do they expose? We know that they're going to protect Kucherov and Stamkos. They're going to protect Braden Point. and then it gets a little bit murkier. I got to think they're going to protect. Well, they know we're going to protect Hedman. What do they do on D? Do they go McDonough, Sergachev?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm jumping. The Coyotes and the Toronto and the Colorado are talking to trade Darcy Kumper with them to them. Wow.
So where would he end up? Toronto?
The Toronto and the Colorado are in the race right now to get him.
I mean, listen, Darcy Kumper is seriously underrated as a goalie in the NHL. He has had top performance numbers. His health is a little bit of an issue. But man, he is a high-end goalie. And I think he saved Phoenix's butt a lot. Like Arizona won a lot of games that they shouldn't have won because of him. So you could see, I think he would be, this is the trick though. If you're Toronto and you get Darcy Kuemper, he's probably day-to-day as good or better than Freddie Anderson. Depends, I think he probably might be a little better. He's way bigger than we realize. Really good goalie. However, you have the same issue with health. Like this guy misses a lot of time.
Yeah, will be interesting about that. Johnny, he did not resign yet. Is a RFA.
We hope so.
I think they will wait because I can wait. I think they will focus more on what they have. I think the next thing for the Florida is right now is Sam Bennett. That's what
that's a big one. Yes. Absolutely. All right, Pierre. So for the Tampa Bay Lightning, we have them on the screen. We know that they're going to protect Kucherov, Stamkos, and Hedman. On the forward, do you think they're going to go 7-3-1 first of all?
What you said about? Tell me again about Tampa.
Do you think that they will go 7 forwards, 3 defensemen, and 1 goalie?
Well, the problem they get right now, they have to protect Edmund, Sergachev.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want to do that. Sergachev doesn't.
I don't know whether you're going to go with Cernak or McDonough. That's the problem.
What would your gut tell you?
It's possible we go both of them. They keep both of them, and then they would not let Cernak to go.
That's kind of what I was wondering. Like, McDonough showed in the playoffs. He's still really good, but he is 32 and he makes 6.7.
But if he was exposed, they would get him.
Do you think? I would think they would take him.
They will take him right away. So, example, if they go 4-4, now you have to go with Kucherov, Stamkos, Point.
And then who do you go for the other forward? Do you go Cirelli? But you have to protect Matthew Joseph.
No, they will go between Cirelli and Palat or Gord.
So does that expose Matthew Joseph?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. I'm grabbing that guy.
They would not go there. Joseph is not going to be a great, bottom 6.
You think so? He got 12 goals this year.
Yeah, but he's not going to be like a guy named Pack like Palat or Gord.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow, I don't know. I think that they've held him back, I felt, but maybe I'm just speculating. But he is 24 now. He got 12.
If they expose Killorn, Tyler Johnson, and they have to expose
Gord.
Example, if they go Point and Palat, Gord will be exposed. So the choice of Brisebois this morning is do I gave with McDonough? No, but he said, do I go McDonough at 32 and protect Brenton, Point, Palat, Gord, or Cirelli? Cirelli is going to have to be protect. It's 24 years old.
Yeah,
so
you got to
go Point Cirelli, right? If they protect McDonough or they get McDonough out. But I believe Brisebois is going to make a trade before that, where he's going to maybe give something where he would said to, hey, listen, I'm going to give you maybe Joseph and then I'm going to give you an extra players and then maybe Carl Foot, example, whatever it is, a second round pick. Example, he goes say, look, I'm going to give you Joseph and I'm going to give you my second round pick and then you don't touch at them. But at some point, Brisbane need to lose money. So for him to lose Palat, Gord, Johnson, I think they will force maybe to get Johnson, because Johnson, I believe, is from Seattle area.
He's from Spokane.
So for me, they will sell maybe to them, I'm going to give you a third round pick, example, and then take Tyler Johnson, and that'll be something like that could happen.
I could see that. All right, so failing that, who do you think is available to be picked, and who would you pick?
Well, it's very hard because it depends what they go, everything like that, right? So expose right there what they have right now. I think for me, for what he bring, I go with Gord.
So you think if Gord is available, I take Gord.
On all the forward they have, I would take Gord.
Yeah, I would too.
But
if Cernak's
McDonough is exposed, and the problem with why he didn't maybe not touch McDonough, Michael, is because he's 32 and he still have 5 years contract.
Yeah, I don't think I touched that contract.
I would not go with that one over there. Good is still 3 years at 5 shut down there, right?
And he can play all 3 forward positions. He can play center, left, and right. He's an energy guy. He's the depth guy you need. Like, yeah, I would agree with you. So I think we're both saying the same, which is you would pick Gord and I would pick Gord.
Yep.
Who would people in the audience pick? Feel free to put it in the chat and we'll post it up. But that's who I would go with. All right, so we go to the next team, which is the St. Louis Blues. So this one, it's interesting. They don't really have no movement clauses. But I think it's obvious. I mean, okay, on the forward lines, you're going to protect O'Reilly. You're going to protect Shen. You're probably going to protect David Perron. You're going to protect Tarasenko if you haven't traded him.
Frank Seravalli just said, do not count anymore Montreal Canadiens out of the Jack Eichel race.
Interesting. This can be interesting. So this one's tricky. Do you go 7-3-1? I think you do, right?
For them, it's easy. They go with Justin, with Torrey, and Colton. That's 1, 2, and 3. That's it. Nothing else, right? You go after that, O'Reilly, right there. They go to protect Tarasenko. That's 2. Shane, that's 3. Schwa is a UFA. Elfman, a 4 with Perrault. Then after that, you have to go with Songvis. That's 5 over there. I don't know how they think about. I don't know if Robert Thomas and Giroux are available or not. I don't think Kiru is on the plan. I think he's fine for him. Robert Thomas, it could be him on the have to be protected.
So, all right. So, who do you think is available? Like, probably Zach Sanford.
Yeah.
Probably Samuel Blais. Do you think Robert?
I would take Sanford before that.
Do you think they're gonna leave Kyrou unprotected, or you don't?
Who?
Do you think Jordan Kyrou has to be protected?
I don't know. I'm going there right now. That's what I'm looking for him.
He had a really great breakout year.
He's an RFA, but I don't know if he has only one contract. He's not on ALC anymore, and he played.
He's 23, so it's a second contract, isn't it?
Yeah, he played 3 years. You have to be protected.
So I can't see them exposing him.
So you have to protect him.
I'd be very surprised if they exposed him after the year he just had.
Same situation with Thomas.
So O'Reilly, Tarasenko, Shen, that's 3. Schwartz is 4. I think they'll protect Perron, that's 5. And then they have 2 more. I think they protect Kyrie, that's 6. And then who was the 7th, maybe?
Thomas.
Then Thomas. Yep. So then that means that Sammy Blais and Zach Sanford are available, and Ivan Barbashev.
And Bozak is UFA. They are all UFA, so it's not a big deal right there.
Yeah, Bozak 35. I don't think I'm touching him.
Yeah.
They'll
So it's going to
expose
be between Black, Gledford, McIntyre, and then it's going to be Zanford, but he's a RFA. So
I think I take Sammy Blais.
I would take me more Zanford if I have a choice for what they have right now.
Yeah.
But again, if I'm right them, I'll be honest with you, my pick would be Vince Dunn.
Well, I was going to ask about that. Do they pick Vince Dunn? Vince Dunn can get points. He's a little bit not reliable defensively, and there's going to be a lot of defensemen left in this draft. Like, I think they're going to get some really good D potentially.
You don't have to protect Zanford, by the way.
Why?
Because he's still on the. No, he have 3 years. He's
No, he's 26.
I'm sorry. But he have only one contract. It's funny.
Really? Because he was with Washington before.
No, he's a second contract. Sorry. Completely wrong.
That makes sense.
Yep.
All right. So do you think you take Vince Dunn?
Me, I go with Vince Dunn. He's a RFA, but if I have a choice, I would go with Vince Dunn. But if it's not, I will go with Sanford.
And you like Sanford better than Sammy Blais?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Blais struggled a lot.
Did he?
Yep. Blais have only like the last 2 years. He's 25. I understand that. He never been the guy after he got the Stanley Cup. You know what I mean? Like, he had 15 points last year. He got hurt the last 2 years, 3 years. He played 32, 40, 56. Scored 8 goals.
Sanford had 10 goals, 16 goals. So, yeah, I think Sanford's the way to go.
Yep. Again, he could be a type, I'm not calling it, like more like Goudreau. That kind of play, he could be Samuel Blais, like Goudreau. That's the best he can be for me.
Did you hear the rumor the Lightning are asking him to waive his contract? They said they didn't. Nice cap, Michael. Hi, everyone. Hey, Oleg. Thanks for joining us. We're really happy you jumped in. The Lightning are not insane to ask him to do that. Yeah, we already talked at the beginning that they're not going to ask him to waive his contract. All right, so we only got a few more minutes. I have to jump on a call or two here, probably two. Who do we think is available for San Jose? We might run out of some time here. What's that?
San Jose?
Yeah.
They're going to protect only 3 defensemen.
So Burns, Vlasic, and Carlson?
Yeah, no choice with the 2 others. So Burns will be protect for sure. And then forwards, it's easy. Couture, Kane, Mayer, Erdl. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, the one they're going to pick for me, they're going to get is Rand Donato.
Do you think that they'll expose him?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because they have to go with Couture, Kane, Mayer, Erdl. That's 3, 4. Then you go Laback. That's 5. You have to go with Nieto. That's 6.
That's why I thought they would protect him. That's 7.
So that would be the one over there, and I think they will. Is it Boucher or something like that, or Marcus?
Rudolph Balcers.
Yeah. So I think that Boucher or Sorensen will be before Donato, and I will say to you why. Another thing, he's a RFA right now, Donato, and also have to sign at least for another $2 million. For that, they will prefer to let him go and see if Seattle pick him.
So who do you think's available, and who do you think you would take?
They will. If a Donato is open, they would take Donato.
What would you do?
I will. That's the only one on the list I can see right now, so I would go with Donato.
Okay. I'm tempted to take Donato. I'm also tempted.
Vasiliev, welcome back, Vasiliev. How are you doing? For a long time, I did not talk to you. Eagle, the Lightning are not insane to ask him to do that. They asked him. He did not ask anything. They just told him, we protect you. We don't ask you to open up the close. So I think it was really good to see the Tampa Bay for the integrity or the captain, everything like that. I think it was great to see that.
I'm really tempted to take Radim Simic. I didn't realize how older he was, but
he's 28.
He's 28, but his contract's very reasonable at 2.2.
Yeah, but listen, if I would show, I would take Vince Dunn before him.
Would you? Yeah, because he's got more offense, but he's better defensively than Vince, isn't he?
Yeah, so many defensemen. I will not open up with cement.
All right, well, Donato's reasonable because he's only 1.9, and he can score 15, 20 goals if you give him the right role. All right, the final team, Pittsburgh Penguins. This one's interesting. You're obviously going to protect Malkin, Crosby, Gensel. I think they expose Zucker. They're going to protect Rust. They're going to protect Kapanen. I think so. That means 1, 2, 3.
The problem there, Michael, I always start with the defenseman. So because the defenseman give you an idea if you go 3 or 4.
I don't see them protecting 4 defensemen.
No, they will open up only with they would protect Letang with Dumoulin.
Yeah.
And they would protect because they have the UFA, and they would protect Madison.
Yeah.
Where I would not do that, but if they not sign before that, CC or Peterson, but I will do that way. Anyway, at the end of the day, they go only with 3D. It's not a big deal.
So who do you think's available and who do you take?
So again?
Who do you think is available and who do you take?
For the defenseman?
Well, overall.
For one, you're going to see Malkin, Crosby, Consol, right? And they're going to go with Rask, Danev, Kapanen, McCann, Carter. So they will, and now Bluger. So they will open up. I believe they're going to select for them. They're going to go with. I think something could happen for me. Is I'm not sure they will go to protect Zucker.
I think they won't. I think they'll expose him. Would you take Zucker?
The problem is because they picked for one. They trade for one first round pick. So they will try to do a trade with him, but. At the end of the day, if it was the case, they protect him. I think they will pick Ashton Reese. Zach Ashton Reese will be my pick.
Okay. I'm really tempted to take Peterson. They also have Casey DeSmith.
Peterson would be a good pick. My problem with him at 25 is at $4 million. So it's expensive at that moment for Peterson.
Yep.
I would not be surprised they make a trade with the Kraken to get Zucker and Peterson and both team to get money back.
There we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I'm really tempted to. I wish Jared McCann was available.
Who?
If Jared McCann was available, I would absolutely scoop him up. I don't believe he will be.
I don't
do enough around Bluger.
I don't think so.
Peterson, and then worst case, I trade him. Yeah, but I'm very tempted to take Casey DeSmith. I guess it depends on if you sign another goalie. Oh, did I kill
DeSmith will be open up over there for sure. But no, they will open Legacy, I believe.
No doubt.
All right, Frenchy. We have to wrap up, unfortunately.
Grandma daycare today. She's
Okay.
Super nice.
Oh, sorry there. Can you hear me okay? There we go.
Not a problem, Adam. I will see you tomorrow morning. That's fine. Vasiliev, thanks again to be interesting. Capricious in Minnesota or not. Will be interesting to follow with him for sure, Vasiliev. We don't know yet about that one over there. And who should we target potential plus Weber? I think you will target right now on Hamilton for sure. They are targeting that one over there. I think I know him, but Tyson Barrie is going to be another one. Really interesting what he's going to do with him. Because they don't have Tyson Barrie. They don't have that kind of players at all. And I think that would be a good fit for Montreal.
He gives him a power play D, but that's all he is, so it's a little bit crazy.
But again, they don't have anything like that, Michael. Like, they don't have Morgan Riley. They don't have those kind of players carry on the park. Like, no one. No one.
You're right.
So at some point, you have to
The name
get
of
that kind, and I don't think so. It's going to be expensive.
No. No, I think he might have another $3.5 million contract, Pierre.
Yeah, Romanov Mile is because he's not an offensive like people thinking.
I think
He don't score a lot of goals. Like you have two
I
goals
know.
each year and 150 games. He
Yeah.
can, but he's not a fluid skater to carry on the puck. And so for me, it's not a kind of plus you're looking for. I'm looking at a Cal McCarr, like someone can carry on the puck all the way. Not have to be like him, but can like Jeff Petrie is better at what we have with Jeff Petrie. And you cannot thinking Jeff Petrie is the guy to carry on the puck. And Morgan Riley can all the stuff like that. A Petangelou does those stuff like that. And a Tony Crook is a guy we don't have.
True.
Vince Dunn could be someone they're looking for if they don't want to spend too much on Barry. But you can get Barry, Mike, under $5 million.
Yeah, true. Pierre,
He's
unfortunately,
like Emilien. Yeah, it's a good comparison, Romanov. A little bit more skill overall, but it's a good comparison to get him for sure. So I think Michael have to go anyway. Thanks again, everybody. Hopefully, I apologize. I did not follow up a lot on the chat with you guys because I was really on social media, follow up all the news we have. So many news. We'll be back tonight, 8:00 Eastern time. Tonight is going to be interesting to see that because tonight we're going to go on not another format, but it's going to see how much they can get money on the UF3 return that. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the news in Montreal. And of course, the Frenchy quiz at the end of the show. We are live this week at 8:00. And next week, we're going to start at 9:00 Eastern time. So thanks for joining us today at the Hockey Nation Live show. We wish you an amazing, great, thankfully, Thursday afternoon and night. And hopefully see you tonight. And before we leave, if you don't mind to click on the likes, that'd be awesome. And definitely Michael and me will be back tomorrow morning. 11:00 is a fun day, Friday, and we'll see what we're going to bring on the table. I'm sure the NHL is going to have a lot more news of what we got already Sunday beginning this morning because it's already crazy. And you don't know, 89 days before the upcoming season 2021. Have an amazing, great day, everybody.